Life is full of moments where we have to make choices, big and small. Sometimes it feels overwhelming, like the right path is hidden or that circumstances are out of our hands. But the truth is, how we respond to those moments shapes everything about our lives. Every day, you have the power to decide who you want to be, what you want to focus on, and how you move forward. This isn't about luck or waiting for the perfect chance. It's about understanding that your future depends on the choices you make right now, choosing to take control, building habits that support your goals, surrounding yourself with the right people, and leading your life with purpose. These are not just ideas, they are practical steps you can start using today. As you listen, you'll find guidance that breaks down how to make decisions that truly serve you. You'll learn how to focus on what you can control instead of worrying about what you can't. You'll see why discipline matters more than motivation and how quiet, steady actions can bring real change. This is about waking up each day, ready to move toward the life you want with clear intention and strength. Stay with this, and you'll discover how to stop feeling stuck or uncertain. Instead, you'll learn how to face challenges calmly, speak words that build you up, and invest your time where it matters most. Life is about choices, and when you choose wisely, you can shape a future that feels meaningful and full of possibility. Chapter 1. Choose to take full responsibility for your life. Most people wait for something to change before they begin living the life they want. They wait for a better job, more money, the right relationship, or the perfect moment. They wait for someone to apologize. They wait for the past to make sense. They wait for a sign. But the truth is, nothing really changes until you do. Life doesn't hand you transformation. Life responds to it. And transformation begins the moment you choose to take full responsibility for your life. That choice is the beginning of everything. It is the foundation of self-mastery. It is the decision to stop making excuses and start creating results. When you choose to take responsibility, you take your power back. You stop blaming the past. You stop waiting for someone else to save you. You stop pointing the finger at circumstances. You stand up. You own your life. Every part of it. This decision is not about blaming yourself for everything that has gone wrong. It's about recognizing that while you may not be responsible for what happened to you, you are responsible for how you respond, for what you do next, for how you carry your story forward. This isn't about guilt, it's about control. The more you take ownership, the more control you have over what your life becomes. Responsibility means you don't wait for motivation. You create momentum. You don't wait to feel ready. You do what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable. You don't look for guarantees. You accept the risk of failure as part of the path. Because when you take responsibility, you're not negotiating with life anymore. You're shaping it. Every single day, life gives you choices. And the truth is, the small choices matter more than most people realize. You choose how to respond to frustration. You choose how to handle disappointment. You choose what to do with your mornings, your evenings, your spare time. You choose what you consume, what you say, what you prioritize. You choose whether to be bitter or to grow. And over time, those choices become your life. No one drifts into discipline. No one stumbles into peace. No one wakes up one day and magically becomes the person they hoped to be. It happens when you decide that your life is your responsibility and no one else's. People often confuse responsibility with control, but they're not the same. You can't control the economy. You can't control how others treat you. You can't control traffic or the weather or how someone else reacts to your honesty. But you can control your response. And that's where your power lives. That's where you shift from being at the mercy of circumstances to being the author of your own life. If someone hurts you, you get to decide whether you stay stuck in that pain or whether you use it to build strength. If you fail at something important, you get to decide whether that becomes the end of your effort or the beginning of your growth. If life throws something unfair at you, and it will, you decide whether to let it break you or build you. Responsibility means you respond. You don't freeze. You don't wait for someone else to fix it. You step forward, even when the ground beneath you is uncertain. Taking responsibility isn't always easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you will ever do. It means being honest with yourself. It means looking in the mirror and asking, what am I allowing that I shouldn't? What am I avoiding? What do I keep doing that goes against who I want to become? That kind of honesty can be uncomfortable, but it's the only path to real change. Many people stay stuck in the same patterns because they keep telling themselves stories that protect them from discomfort. They say, it's not my fault. They say, I've tried everything. They say, I just don't have the time or the resources or the energy. These stories feel safe, but they cost you your future. They keep you small. They give you an identity that's based on limitations. And the truth is, you can't grow while clinging to a story that says you can't. Taking responsibility means rewriting that story. It means saying, maybe I didn't cause all of this, but I get to decide where it goes from here. It means choosing actions that reflect your values, not your excuses. It means refusing to let your past define your potential. One of the most powerful things you can do is take full ownership of your time. Every day, you are given 24 hours. And how you use those hours is a direct reflection of your priorities. You can scroll through your phone, or you can read something that strengthens your mind. You can complain, or you can work on something that brings you closer to your goals. You can waste time comparing yourself to others, or you can quietly build the life you want. When you treat time as your responsibility, you start living intentionally, and intentional living is where success begins. Responsibility also means managing your energy. You are the gatekeeper of your attention. You decide what you let in, what news you consume, what conversations you tolerate, what thoughts you feed. If you constantly allow negativity, drama, or distraction into your mind, you weaken your ability to focus, to create, and to stay grounded. But when you take responsibility for your internal environment, you begin to notice how powerful your mind really is. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You start protecting your peace. You start living from strength instead of reaction. Another critical piece of responsibility is your self-talk. What you say to yourself when no one else is listening shapes your confidence, your decisions, and your resilience. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, criticism, or fear, you'll move through life hesitantly. But if you take responsibility for how you speak to yourself, if you train your mind to be encouraging, focused, and strong, you'll be amazed at what you can handle. None of this is about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about saying, no more excuses. No more waiting. No more blaming. From this moment forward, I'm responsible for what I build. When you live that way, you begin to trust yourself. You begin to rise. You begin to separate yourself from the patterns that kept you small. There's something powerful that happens when you stop outsourcing your life. You stop needing constant validation. You stop looking for permission. You stop fearing other people's opinions. Instead, you start aligning with your own values. You start building a life based on direction, not distraction. And you begin to feel what it means to be free. It's not easy. Responsibility comes with challenges. It means saying no to things that feel good in the moment, but cost you in the long term. It means doing the hard things when no one is watching. It means being honest about your part in every outcome. But the rewards are greater than most people can imagine. Peace of mind, real confidence, self-respect, progress, purpose. These don't come from comfort. They come from taking full ownership of your life. Think about one area in your life right now that feels stuck. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your relationships. Maybe it's your work. Ask yourself this question: what am I waiting for? And then ask, what would it look like to take full responsibility for this? The answers might surprise you. They might challenge you, but they will set you free. Because the moment you stop waiting is the moment your life begins to move again. You're not here to pass time. You're here to build. You're here to learn. You're here to contribute. And that starts with ownership. The sooner you take it, the stronger you become. If you want to improve your life, stop asking what others are doing and start asking what you're doing. If you want change, stop hoping and start choosing. If you want peace, stop avoiding and start taking action. Everything changes the moment you do. You don't need more time. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to be lucky. You need to take responsibility. That's the lever that shifts everything. It's not always glamorous. It's not always easy, but it is always worth it. Responsibility is not a one-time decision. It's a daily choice. Every morning you wake up, you have a chance to align your actions with your values. Every evening you have a chance to reflect and correct. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. And progress only happens when you're honest about where you are and committed to where you're going. You were not born to drift. You were born to direct. You were not made to react. You were made to respond. And when you choose to take full responsibility for your life, you step into the kind of strength that doesn't just change you, it changes everything around you. So today, don't wait. Don't wish. Don't blame. Decide. Choose. Own your life, all of it. Own your thoughts, your time, your energy, your direction. Because the life you want is not somewhere out there waiting. It's on the other side of responsibility. And it starts now. Chapter 2. Decide to focus only on what you control. Most people spend their lives chasing what they can't control. They worry about what others think. They stress over outcomes they can't predict. They try to fix situations that were never theirs to manage in the first place. This constant battle drains their energy, steals their peace, and keeps them reactive instead of intentional. The truth is, the moment you decide to focus only on what you control, you begin to take your life back. You begin to move with clarity. You begin to live on your own terms. What you control is not the world around you, but the world within you. You don't control how someone treats you, but you control whether you allow their words to define your worth. You don't control the past, but you control what you do with it. You don't control the weather, the market, the traffic, or the way people live their lives, but you control your response, your discipline, your attitude, your mindset. That's where your power is. And that's where all real change begins. When you focus on what you can't control, life becomes a series of frustrations. You get stuck in comparison. You get distracted by noise. You chase approval that never lasts. You fear judgment that doesn't matter. You waste hours trying to predict or prevent things that may never even happen. And slowly, without realizing it, you give your peace away one small thought at a time. But when you shift your focus, you stop reacting to the world and start creating your place in it. There's freedom in staying grounded in what is yours to manage. your actions, your words, your priorities, your values, your effort. That's your domain. And when you stay there, you stop trying to control other people's emotions. You stop trying to force outcomes. You stop waiting for the world to cooperate before you move forward. You simplify your life by returning to what is actually within your reach. This decision takes discipline. It's easy to get pulled into other people's drama. It's easy to let your mind spin stories about what might happen, what could go wrong, or how things should be. But those thoughts are not productive. They pull you out of the present. They create tension where there could be calm, and they rob you of the energy you could be using to take real action. Focusing on what you control isn't about giving up or ignoring problems. It's about directing your attention to where it will actually make a difference. You can't control if someone supports you, but you can control whether you show up consistently. You can't control whether your first effort succeeds, but you can control how many times you're willing to try. You can't control how long it takes, but you can control whether you quit. And that difference, that quiet persistence, is what shapes your future. When things feel chaotic, ask yourself one simple question: what part of this is mine to own? That question brings you back to center. It reminds you to stay in your lane. It clears the emotional fog and puts your focus on the next right step, instead of the 100 things that don't serve you. That's how you reclaim your time, your peace, and your momentum. You'll notice that when you stay focused on what you control, your stress begins to shrink. You're no longer carrying burdens that don't belong to you. You stop feeling responsible for fixing everyone else. You stop trying to anticipate or prevent every possible challenge. You learn to move with calm. You learn to respond with intention. And you learn to walk away from what you can't change without guilt or regret. This way of living doesn't come naturally in a world that pushes for control at every turn. But the most stable people aren't the ones who control everything. They're the ones who control themselves. Their thoughts are disciplined. Their words are chosen. Their attention is guarded. They're not pulled in every direction by what's trending or urgent or loud. They know what they value, and they keep returning to it. To live this way, you must become deeply honest with yourself. You must admit when your focus has wandered into areas that don't belong to you. You must recognize when your thoughts are being hijacked by fear, jealousy, or impatience. And you must be willing to bring yourself back, over and over, to what you can actually affect. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. You may not be able to change your circumstances right away, but you can change your habits. You can change your schedule. You can change how you speak to yourself. You can change how you show up, how you treat others, how you carry yourself through pressure. These are not small things. These are the foundations of your life. When you commit to focusing only on what you control, your priorities become clear. You stop wasting time on distractions. You stop trying to change people who don't want to change. You stop needing to be right. You stop overthinking the opinions of those who don't understand your path. You become steady, not because life is easy, but because you've stopped fighting things you were never meant to fight. You begin to see that peace is not found in having a perfect life. It's found in staying rooted in what you can control. And once you taste that kind of peace, you won't want to go back to the old way of living. You'll begin to protect your energy more carefully. You'll become more selective with your commitments. You'll notice when your thoughts are drifting toward worry or control, and you'll bring them back to focus. Over time, this discipline becomes strength. It becomes clarity. It becomes your way of life. You don't need to control everything to feel empowered. You just need to master what belongs to you. That's where your influence is. That's where your consistency is built. That's where your goals are reached. Not by trying to move the world, but by moving yourself, every single day, with purpose, with patience, with focus. This kind of living is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and intentional. It means showing up even when no one is watching. It means building habits that align with your values. It means staying anchored in the present when your mind tries to race into the future. And it means accepting that you will never have full control, but you will always have a choice. The greatest power you will ever hold is the power to direct your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. And where your energy goes, your life takes shape. Choose wisely. Stay grounded. Focus only on what you control. Everything else is noise. Chapter 3. Commit to building habits that shape your future. Your future isn't created in a single moment of inspiration. It's shaped by what you do consistently when no one is watching. Every day is a quiet vote toward the person you are becoming. You can't expect a different life if you keep repeating the same choices. The habits you live by either move you forward or hold you back. You don't have to overhaul your entire life at once, but you do have to take ownership of the small actions that build momentum. Habits aren't glamorous, but they are powerful. They determine how you use your time, how you care for your body, how you respond under pressure, and how you stay grounded when life feels uncertain. And the sooner you commit to shaping your days with intention, the sooner your future begins to reflect that commitment. People often wait for motivation before taking action. They wait to feel ready, to feel confident, to feel inspired. But lasting change doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with discipline. Discipline is what shows up when excuses are loud and progress feels slow. It's what moves your feet when your mind is full of doubt. If you're serious about changing your life, you have to stop relying on how you feel and start honoring what you've decided. That's the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be consistent. The key is to start small and stay honest. A simple morning routine, 10 minutes of movement, 1 page of reading, a plan for the next day. These may seem insignificant on their own, but stacked together day after day, they lay the foundation for a stronger future. The goal isn't to do everything at once, it's to do the right things repeatedly until they become part of who you are. That's how confidence is built. That's how discipline becomes natural. The reason most people struggle with habits isn't because they're lazy, it's because they haven't yet connected their habits to a deeper reason. You won't commit to waking up early just because someone told you it's a good idea. You'll do it because you want to feel more in control of your time. You won't stick with healthy eating just because it's trendy. You'll do it because you're tired of feeling sluggish and want to show up better in your life. The habit is the action, but the why is the fuel. When your habits are tied to what truly matters to you, they stop feeling like chores and start feeling like alignment. Building habits requires patience. Results take time. Progress is rarely linear. You'll have days where you slip, moments where you question if it's working, periods where it feels easier to quit. But these are the exact moments where your character is formed. Will you choose to keep going, even when the outcome isn't immediate? Will you stay committed, even when no one else sees your effort? These questions matter because they define the kind of person you're becoming. The best habits are the ones that support your highest priorities. If your health matters, build habits around movement, rest, and nutrition. If your mind matters, build habits around reading, reflection, and silence. If your relationships matter, build habits around presence, listening, and honesty. Don't chase trends. Don't copy someone else's routine. Build a life that reflects what you value. and let your habits reinforce it every single day. Every decision you make either strengthens your discipline or weakens it. When you choose to follow through, even in small ways, you're telling yourself that your future matters. You're reinforcing the belief that you are capable, trustworthy, and strong. That internal dialogue is critical, because how you view yourself influences what you do next. The more often you show up for yourself, the easier it becomes to believe that you're the kind of person who follows through. And from there, the possibilities open up. It's not about being rigid. It's about being aligned. A habit is not a punishment. It's a form of self-respect. It's a way of taking control of your time, your energy, and your direction. It's a reminder that your days are not accidents. They are choices. And every day you choose to act with discipline, you send a message to your future that you are serious about building something meaningful. You will not always feel like doing the work. That's expected. The purpose of a habit isn't to always feel good. It's to make sure you do what matters even when it doesn't. If you only act when it's easy, you'll live at the mercy of your moods. But if you act from principle, from commitment, from clarity, you will rise above the excuses that used to stop you. That's the transformation that habits make possible. You don't need a massive breakthrough to change your life. You need a few clear actions done repeatedly with care and purpose. You need to wake up and remind yourself of who you're becoming. You need to practice self-control, even when no one's watching. You need to create space in your day for the things that build strength, sharpen focus, and deepen peace. That's the real work. And it's worth doing. There will be moments when you feel like nothing is changing. You'll wonder if your efforts are making a difference. But transformation doesn't happen loudly. It happens quietly, in the discipline of the day, in the decision to keep going, in the refusal to give up. You'll look back in a few months and realize you've become someone different, not because of one massive decision, but because of hundreds of small ones. That's the power of habit. That's what shapes your future. You are not defined by your past patterns. You can begin again today. You can decide what kind of person you want to become, and you can back that decision up with real action. No one can build your life for you. No one can create your future on your behalf. That work belongs to you, and it begins now, in the way you structure your morning, in the way you manage your energy, in the way you end your day. Each habit is a step forward. Each day is an opportunity to grow, and every small choice repeated with discipline becomes the proof that your future is in your hands. Chapter 4. Speak only words that build courage and clarity. The words you speak shape the world around you. Every sentence you say is a reflection of your inner state and a force that either builds or breaks. If you want to lead a strong and peaceful life, you have to discipline your language. You have to speak as someone who understands that words are not empty, they are decisions made in sound. When you speak with courage, you become more resilient. When you speak with clarity, you bring direction into confusion. If your words are careless, your life becomes uncertain. If your words are intentional, your path becomes clear. It's easy to talk without thinking. It's common to react with emotion and say things that hurt, confuse, or distract. But living with intention means pausing before you speak. It means choosing to build instead of destroy. You don't need to speak more. You need to speak better. You don't have to say everything you feel. You have to say what adds value. Words have power, and once spoken, they can't be taken back. They leave an impression, whether you mean them to or not. If you want to grow into someone who can handle life with strength, you have to speak in a way that aligns with who you're becoming. Don't speak fear when you want to live in courage. Don't speak complaints when you want to live in discipline. Every word is a step either forward or backward. If you keep saying you're tired, overwhelmed, or stuck, your mind begins to believe it. But if you speak about solutions, progress, and purpose, you train your mind to stay focused and strong. Courage doesn't mean pretending you have no fear. It means choosing to speak in a way that doesn't feed fear. When you face difficulties, speak calm. When you're uncertain, speak honesty. When you fail, speak growth. When others doubt you, speak belief. When you speak in this way, you begin to shift the energy around you. You influence yourself first, and through that, you influence others. Words have a ripple effect. They enter the mind, shape emotion, and inspire behavior. Speak as if you are writing the story of your life through your voice, because you are. Clarity begins with self-respect. If you're unclear in your own mind, your speech will be scattered. If you avoid truth, your language will become confusing. Speak simply. Say what you mean. Don't hide behind vague language. Be honest without being harsh. Be direct without being cold. The more clear you are, the more peace you bring. Confusion in speech creates tension. Precision in speech creates calm. When you know what matters, and you speak from that place, others begin to trust your presence. One of the most powerful habits you can build is speaking about your life in a way that moves you forward. Speak with faith when you feel doubt. Speak with patience when you feel rushed. Speak with discipline when you feel tempted to give in. You are not lying to yourself when you do this. You are choosing to guide your thoughts in the direction of strength. This is not about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about anchoring your words in your values, not in your moods. People often underestimate how much their words affect their environment. If you constantly speak about what's wrong, others feel weighed down. If you focus on what's right and what's possible, people feel safe and supported around you. That energy matters. The people who speak life into others are remembered. The ones who speak only criticism are avoided. If you want to build a better life, build it through conversations that reflect strength, not scarcity. Speak with courage when you talk to yourself too. Your inner dialogue has to be guarded. If you're always telling yourself you're not enough, you're planting doubt. If you're always predicting failure, you're sabotaging progress. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply respect. Encourage yourself with facts, not fantasy. If you've overcome before, remind yourself of that. If you've stayed calm under pressure, recall that strength. You don't need empty affirmations. You need honest reminders of your ability to grow and adapt. When things go wrong, your first instinct might be to complain or blame. Train yourself to replace that with reflection and resolve. Don't waste your voice on things you can't change. Don't use your energy explaining why you're stuck. Use it to ask what's next and what's possible. That shift in language leads to a shift in action. You rise when your words lift you. You move forward when your words stop holding you back. Speaking with courage and clarity also means knowing when not to speak. Silence is not weakness when it comes from self-control. There are moments when your strength is proven by restraint. Not every opinion needs to be shared. Not every conflict deserves a reaction. Choose your words like a craftsman. Each one should serve a purpose. Speak less, but make each sentence count. When your words carry weight, people listen. Discipline in speech doesn't mean being emotionless. It means using language as a tool for progress. If you're angry, speak truthfully, but with control. If you're excited, speak with awareness. The more grounded you are, the more balanced your speech becomes. You don't have to raise your voice to be powerful. You don't have to talk a lot to be heard. You just need to be intentional. You just need to mean what you say and say what matters. In your relationships, your words can heal or hurt. Speak appreciation more often. Give recognition when it's deserved. Apologize when you've been wrong. Say thank you when someone shows up. These simple sentences are powerful. They build trust, connection, and respect. Don't hold back kindness because you assume people know how you feel. Speak it. Let your words reflect gratitude. Let them reflect care. People remember how you made them feel, and words are the bridge to that memory. Your voice is your tool for leadership. Whether you're guiding a team, raising a family, or shaping your own character, your words set the tone. Speak as if others will model your behavior. Speak as if your words are planting seeds, because they are. The future is influenced by what you say today. If you want a life filled with strength, growth and peace, speak as someone who lives in that direction. You don't have to speak perfectly. You just have to speak consciously. Your words are part of your daily choices. Use them to move forward. Use them to lift others. Use them to build the life you want, one honest sentence at a time. The impact of your voice begins with the decision to use it with purpose. Speak with courage. Speak with clarity. Speak with the awareness that your words matter, because they do. Chapter 5. Create a clear vision and walk toward it daily. If your life feels unclear, it's not because you're incapable, it's because you haven't given yourself a specific direction. Without a clear vision, each day becomes reaction instead of intention. You wake up, respond to demands, handle distractions, and end the day wondering where your time went. That pattern slowly drains your energy. But when you define what you want your life to look like, you stop drifting and start moving. Vision is not a luxury. It's a requirement for meaningful progress. Creating a clear vision means deciding who you want to become and what you want to create with your time. It's not about chasing perfection. It's about giving your days a reason to exist. Most people spend more time planning a weekend than they do planning their future. If you don't take time to design your life, you'll end up living by default. You'll keep repeating the same cycles, not because you can't change, but because you never stop to ask yourself what you're aiming for. You don't need a complicated or glamorous vision. You need one that feels real, grounded, and honest. One that speaks to your values and your potential. Maybe you want peace. Maybe you want strength. Maybe you want to lead, serve, or grow. Whatever it is, write it down. Define it. Be specific. Saying you want a better life isn't enough. Say exactly what that looks like. What kind of person do you want to become? How do you want to handle problems? What kind of energy do you want to carry? What skills do you want to master? What do you want your daily life to reflect? Once you've defined your vision, your responsibility is to walk toward it every single day. Not once a month when you feel inspired. Not only when things are easy. Daily, progress is built through consistent effort, not occasional intensity. Each small step matters. Reading one chapter, waking up 1 hour earlier, saying no to distractions, saying yes to what stretches you. You become your vision not through dreaming, but through repetition. Clarity removes excuses. Once you know what you want, the question shifts from what should I do to will I do what I know matters. Most people stay confused because it gives them a reason to avoid responsibility. But once your vision is clear, that excuse disappears. The path may still be challenging, but your reason for walking it becomes stronger than your fear of the effort. And once that shift happens, nothing can stop you except your own choices. Your vision is not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to challenge you. If it doesn't demand more from you, it won't create change in you. A real vision pulls you forward. It calls you to rise. It makes you notice your bad habits and inspires you to replace them. It makes you uncomfortable with wasting time. When you truly care about your vision, you become less interested in distractions. You stop living for entertainment and start living for fulfillment. Walking toward your vision every day also means learning to say no without guilt. You cannot do everything and be everything. Your energy must be guarded. Not everyone will understand your choices, but they don't need to. Your vision was given to you, not to them. You're not being selfish for protecting your focus. You're being disciplined. You're being responsible. The clearer your vision, the easier it is to make decisions. If something doesn't align, you walk away. If it helps you grow, you move toward it. It becomes simple, even if it's not easy. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You don't need full confidence or constant motivation. You need a commitment to show up anyway. Some days will feel exciting. Others will feel slow and frustrating. But if you keep showing up, the results will show up too. The key is to stop starting over. Stick with your path. Let time and effort compound. Let discipline replace doubt. If you give your vision consistent attention, it will begin to shape your reality. A strong vision also gives you a reason to endure setbacks. Life will test you. Delays will come. Unexpected problems will arise. But if your vision is clear, you won't quit just because it gets hard. You'll stay the course because you know what you're working toward. You'll adjust your pace, but not your purpose. That's what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. Commitment to the long view, even when the short term gets difficult. You don't need to prove your vision to others. You need to prove it to yourself through daily action. Talk less about your plans and live them more. People will notice the difference. They'll see the strength in your consistency. They'll feel the power in your clarity. And more importantly, you'll start to trust yourself. Every time you honor your vision with action, you build inner respect. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You begin to believe that change is not only possible, it's already happening. Your environment plays a big role in your ability to stay connected to your vision. Surround yourself with reminders. Write your goals where you can see them. Keep a journal where you reflect on your progress. Read books that strengthen your mindset. Limit exposure to voices that distract or discourage. The clearer your mental space, the easier it becomes to stay aligned. Protect your energy as if your future depends on it, because it does. One of the most powerful things you can do each morning is remind yourself of your vision. Start your day with purpose, not pressure. Instead of reaching for your phone, sit with your thoughts. Ask yourself what matters most today. Identify one action that will move you forward. Keep it simple and clear. Then follow through. At the end of the day, reflect on whether your actions matched your vision. This daily check-in keeps you grounded. It keeps you honest. It keeps you growing. Remember that your vision is not a one-time decision. It's a living direction. It will evolve as you grow. What feels important today may shift tomorrow as you gain clarity and wisdom. Stay open to refining your vision without abandoning it. Growth requires flexibility, but don't confuse flexibility with inconsistency. Keep your core values rooted while allowing your path to adjust. That's how you stay true without becoming rigid. Your life will not change because of one big moment. It will change because of quiet discipline repeated over time. Your vision is the blueprint. Your daily actions are the bricks. The future you want is not built by chance. It's built by choice. And the most powerful choice you can make is to create a vision so clear that you can't ignore it, and then walk toward it with courage and consistency every single day. Chapter 6. Invest your time where your values truly live. Time is the most honest reflection of what we truly care about. You can speak about priorities, make lists and set goals. But if your daily hours don't match your values, none of it matters. Where you place your time, you place your life. Every day is a quiet statement of what you believe deserves your attention. And most people, without realizing it, spend their precious hours on things they don't respect. They give their best energy to distractions, obligations that lack meaning, or habits that pull them away from their deeper sense of purpose. It's not because they're weak, it's because they've never consciously aligned their time with what actually matters to them. The first step to changing that is becoming radically honest about how you're spending your time right now. Not how you wish you were spending it. Not how you tell others you spend it. The truth. Track it if you have to. You'll notice that large portions of your life disappear into autopilot. And the hard part isn't seeing the waste, it's admitting that you've tolerated it. But that kind of honesty is essential. Without it you can't grow. You can't take control of your future while pretending your present is already aligned. When you say something matters, whether it's health, learning, family, faith, integrity, ask yourself one hard question: how much time does that actually get? Don't measure your love by how strongly you feel about something. Measure it by how regularly you choose it in your schedule. Your values don't live in your intentions, they live in your routines. They show up in your calendar, your energy, and your attention span. If something you claim to care about never gets your time, it's not a real priority, it's a comforting idea. To shift your life, you must create a new standard. Stop allowing low-value activities to steal your focus. Choose depth over distraction. Cut back on what drains you. Simplify your commitments. You don't need to do more, you need to do more of what aligns. Quality beats quantity every time. When you give yourself fully to things that matter, you'll find that you don't miss the rest. You don't miss the scrolling, the mindless conversations, the pointless arguments, or the superficial entertainment. What you gain in return is clarity, purpose, and peace. Every person has a unique value system, but not everyone lives according to it. Some chase approval, others chase urgency, some stay busy out of fear of slowing down. But when you invest your time based on who you want to be, not just what others expect, you begin to live a more honest life. You begin to respect your hours because they reflect your character. You begin to see time not as something you manage, but as something you protect. It becomes sacred. You can't pour into everything. You can't please everyone. Every yes has a cost. Every minute spent on something unimportant is a minute stolen from something meaningful. That's not dramatic, it's just the truth. Saying yes to your values requires saying no to comfort, convenience, and often to things that are good but not essential. There's nothing wrong with rest or leisure, but when they consume more of your day than the things that build your future, imbalance takes root. And when imbalance becomes normal, regret eventually follows. To realign your time, begin with clarity. What do you want your life to stand for? What character traits do you admire in others and wish to build in yourself? What do you want the people closest to you to experience because of your presence? These aren't just reflection questions, they are directional tools. The answers help you redesign your day around what you value most. Don't wait for perfect circumstances. Start today. Even a single hour used wisely can shift your energy and your mindset. If you say you value growth, then read, study, reflect, and take on challenges. If you value health, then cook, move, sleep, and breathe with intention. If you value family, then listen more deeply, be present, and reduce your distractions when they're near. It's not about grand gestures, it's about consistent presence. Most people think they need more time. What they need is more clarity on what matters and more discipline to protect it. You may feel like you're behind, like you've wasted too many years already. But shame has no place in this process. Regret doesn't build anything. Choice does. You can choose today to move differently. You can choose to treat your hours as an extension of your values instead of allowing your habits to choose for you. And you don't have to start with 8-hour shifts of transformation. Start with 1 focused hour, then 2, then build a life around the values that make you proud, not exhausted. There will always be pressures pulling your time in other directions. But no one else is responsible for how you spend your minutes. That's on you. That's your leadership. That's your responsibility. And when you finally take ownership, life starts to feel less scattered. You stop looking for permission to live well. You stop blaming the world for your chaos. You stop chasing balance and start creating it. One small, deliberate choice at a time. When you live this way, people will notice a difference in you. Not because you say more, but because you become more. Your energy becomes more calm. Your words carry more meaning. Your presence feels more rooted. Why? Because when your time is aligned with your values, you stop living in fragments. You become whole, and people feel that wholeness even before you explain it. Not every moment of your life will feel deeply meaningful, but meaning doesn't come from intensity, it comes from intention. A quiet morning spent with awareness builds a stronger mind than 10 rushed hours of reactive noise. A calm meal shared without screens builds more connection than a weekend trip filled with distraction. When your values lead your time, life feels more grounded, even when it's hard. This isn't about being perfect. You'll still waste time sometimes. You'll get distracted, say yes too quickly, or fall into old habits. But the difference is now, you'll notice, you'll feel the misalignment, and you'll have the clarity and strength to adjust. That's the power of choosing to live by your values. It makes you more awake. And when you're awake to what matters, your decisions change, your rhythm changes. Your life slowly but surely becomes more of what it was meant to be. You won't find lasting peace in a crowded schedule. You'll find it in alignment. And alignment doesn't require more effort, it requires more honesty. Start by asking yourself one simple question each day. Did my time today reflect who I truly want to be? If the answer is no, use the next day to make a better choice. And if the answer is yes, stay consistent. The life you're building is found in the hours you choose, not the days you imagine. Let your time become the most honest mirror of what you believe in. Let your actions become the evidence of a life that honors what matters most. Chapter 7. Break patterns that keep you stuck in fear. Fear often disguises itself as logic. It dresses up in caution, pretends to protect you, and convinces you that playing small is the same as being safe. Over time, you begin to trust its voice, not because it's right, but because it's familiar. Patterns form when repetition becomes easier than risk, and many people spend years walking circles around their potential because they've mistaken comfort for peace. But nothing about fear-driven living leads to growth. It may feel like stability, but it's actually slow erosion of confidence, of freedom, of possibility. The first step in breaking free from these patterns is to see them clearly. You cannot change what you won't admit. Look closely at your routines, not just your actions, but the thoughts that lead to them. Are you saying no to new opportunities because you're truly uninterested, or because you're afraid you'll fail? Are you holding your opinions back to keep harmony, or because you fear disapproval? Every behavior has a root, and fear often hides at the base of the habits that hold you back. To begin the process of breaking fear-driven cycles, you must stop avoiding discomfort. Fear feeds off of avoidance. It grows stronger each time you turn away. What you avoid, you empower. So the moment you face it, even slightly, its grip begins to weaken. You don't need to destroy fear overnight. You just need to interrupt the pattern. Choose one thing that makes you uncomfortable, but points in the direction you want to grow. It could be speaking your mind, starting a conversation, applying for something, setting a boundary, or trying something new. Take one small, firm step, not for the outcome, but for the practice of choosing strength over stagnation. Fear is not a sign that you should stop. It's often a sign that you're standing at the edge of transformation. The brain is wired to protect you from threat, but it doesn't always know the difference between risk and danger. That means most of your hesitation isn't based on fact. It's based on a protective instinct that's outdated. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness comes from action, not before it. Only by walking through fear can you teach yourself that it no longer holds the power it once did. Some patterns are subtle. You may tell yourself that you're just being patient, when in truth you're procrastinating out of fear of getting it wrong. You may believe you're being realistic, when in truth you've settled for a version of life that feels predictable but uninspiring. Fear doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, and if you're not listening closely, you'll confuse it with wisdom. To change this, develop the habit of challenging your thoughts. Don't accept them as facts. Ask, is this fear talking, or clarity? The more you ask, the sharper your awareness becomes. People often carry stories about who they are based on past mistakes or early conditioning. If you were told to be quiet, you might now fear speaking up. If you were criticized often, you might fear being seen. But the past only defines you if you continue to live by its rules. Breaking free requires rewriting the story. That doesn't mean pretending the past didn't happen. It means refusing to let it decide your future. You are allowed to grow beyond what used to hold you. You are allowed to outgrow your fear. Many fear-based patterns are learned from watching others. If you grew up around people who avoided conflict, took few risks, or discouraged boldness, you likely absorbed that mindset. But you can choose differently. You can question the examples you were given and set new ones for yourself. Every time you do something your past would have avoided, you expand the future. Your courage becomes the turning point, not just for yourself, but for anyone who watches you choose growth over comfort. Consistency is key. It's not enough to break a pattern once. You must replace it with something stronger. If fear has taught you to stay silent, start practicing daily expression. If fear has kept you stuck in overthinking, start taking imperfect action regularly. Repetition builds confidence. The more often you face discomfort with intention, the less intimidating it becomes. You begin to trust your ability to navigate difficulty. That trust is what breaks fear's hold over time. Fear is also weakened by presence. Most fear lives in the future, imagining what might go wrong, what others might think, how you might fail. But the present moment is rarely dangerous. Learning to focus on the now, what you can do, say, or choose in this moment, pulls your mind out of fear's loop. You don't need to solve the whole future. You just need to make one strong decision now. then another. This mindset builds resilience, not by avoiding fear, but by moving through it with clarity. Your environment plays a powerful role. If you surround yourself with people who reinforce fear, you'll stay stuck. But if you connect with those who live with boldness and integrity, you'll be challenged to rise. Seek out voices that call you forward. Be around people who take action even when they're afraid. Watch how they move. Learn from their steadiness. Let their courage remind you of your own. You don't need to walk alone. Growth is a personal journey, but it's accelerated by collective energy. The goal is not to eliminate fear entirely. That's not realistic, and it's not necessary. The goal is to stop letting it lead your life. To stop allowing it to decide what you say, where you go, and who you become. You are more capable than the voice in your head that tells you to shrink. You are more powerful than the habits that were built on doubt. And you are worthy of a life built on freedom, not fear. Every step you take away from fear, no matter how small, is a step toward your future self. The one who moves with calm strength. The one who doesn't need to prove anything, but still lives fully. The one who understands that courage isn't about being fearless, it's about being willing to try, willing to grow, willing to change. That willingness, practiced daily, creates a life that feels aligned, meaningful, and strong. Fear will visit, but it doesn't have to stay. It will speak, but it doesn't have to decide. With each decision, you shape a new pattern. One built not on avoidance, but on truth. One that honors who you are becoming, not who you used to be. This is how transformation happens, not in sudden leaps, but in quiet, daily choices, to walk forward, even when the old pattern tells you to stay still. Keep walking, keep choosing. Your life is waiting on the other side of fear. Chapter 8. Surround yourself with people who lift you higher. The people around you shape your energy, your choices, and even your self-perception, often more than you realize. Without noticing, you can absorb the mood, beliefs, and behaviors of those closest to you. If you consistently engage with those who are negative, critical, or dismissive of growth, you begin to shrink without even realizing it. Your standards drop, your voice dulls, your vision clouds. You start to question yourself, not because you're wrong, but because the environment makes clarity feel foreign. But when you're surrounded by individuals who believe in growth, who celebrate progress, who encourage strength, you rise. You think deeper. You act with more certainty. You dream in color again. There's a distinct power in the presence of those who want to see you do well. They challenge you, not to compete, but to rise into the potential they see in you. They don't settle for surface-level conversations. They ask questions that spark self-awareness. They speak truth with compassion. And when you doubt yourself, they hold up a mirror that reminds you who you are. These people don't need to be many. Even one person who genuinely uplifts you can shift your entire direction. Quality always matters more than quantity when it comes to your circle. To begin this shift, you must first evaluate the current relationships in your life with honesty, not judgment. Who leaves you drained after every interaction? Who only shows interest when it benefits them? Who dismisses your goals, mocks your progress, or downplays your ambition? These patterns are not harmless. They chip away at your inner belief over time. And though loyalty and history often make it difficult, you have every right to distance yourself from environments that dull your growth. You're not being unkind by protecting your peace. You're being responsible. Not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some served their purpose in a previous version of your life, but you're evolving now, and with that evolution comes a need for alignment. You don't have to cut everyone off abruptly. But you do need to be intentional about how much influence certain people have. Limit access to those who consistently drain, criticize, or sabotage. Energy is a limited resource. You must guard it with clarity. At the same time, you have to be willing to attract new people into your life by first becoming someone who supports others too. The energy you give is often the energy you draw. Are you uplifting the people in your circle? Are you encouraging bold steps in others? Are you present when they speak of their hopes and fears? You can't ask for genuine support if you're not also willing to offer it. Be the kind of person you want to meet. That integrity will magnetize aligned relationships. Look for those who are already living the mindset you want to cultivate. They don't need to have the same goals, but their values must resonate with yours. Do they live with purpose? Are they honest in their words? Do they move with courage and self-respect? These are the signs of people who won't just sit with you when life is good, but who will walk with you when it's hard. Their presence alone brings a sense of safety and motivation. They don't need to fix you. They simply remind you that you're not alone in the pursuit of better. You also need people who hold you accountable, not with shame but with care. Growth requires feedback. It demands reflection, and the right people will challenge you to step up, not to make you feel small, but because they know you're capable of more. They don't coddle your excuses. They don't enable your limitations. They reflect your power back to you until you can carry it with confidence on your own. Accountability in a healthy environment doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like love that has direction. Distance from the wrong people is powerful, but connection with the right people is transformative. Sometimes one conversation with a person who believes in you can undo years of self-doubt. Sometimes a single moment of support can restore strength you thought you'd lost. That's the kind of power that lives in true community. Not in surface-level exchanges, but in the deeper, honest relationships where growth is a shared commitment. If you've struggled to find people like this, know that it often starts with small steps. Join spaces where growth is the focus, online or offline. Read books that shape your mindset and discuss them with others. Attend events that center around authenticity and development. Start conversations that move beyond the surface. You may not find your people overnight, but the more you align your actions with who you're becoming, the more naturally they appear. Also remember this: sometimes the people who once lifted you up no longer align with where you're going. It doesn't mean they're bad. It means your paths are changing. Release the guilt around that. Love can remain even as distance grows. You can honor what someone brought into your life without forcing them into your future. Growth includes learning to outgrow relationships without bitterness. Letting go makes room for what's meant to come next. Your circle is not just about who is around you. It's about who speaks into your life, who influences your decisions, who makes you feel either expanded or diminished. You don't owe anyone access to your life simply because they've been there a long time. Time doesn't equal trust. Energy does. And when you consistently walk with those who live with purpose, speak with clarity, and act with courage, you begin to mirror that energy yourself. It becomes part of how you think, how you speak, how you show up. The more you grow, the more selective you must become. Not from arrogance, but from understanding. You're building something meaningful, and that requires people who respect the process. You don't need to explain your vision to everyone. You don't need universal approval. You need alignment. You need consistency. And most of all, you need community. Not the kind that flatters your ego, but the kind that nurtures your soul. Surrounding yourself with those who lift you higher is not a luxury. It's a necessity for anyone committed to living a life of depth, purpose and freedom. You become like the people you spend the most time with, so choose with care. The right people don't just stand by you, they help you see further, speak clearer, and move stronger. Let your circle be a reflection of your standards, your vision, and your values. Let it be the soil in which your next season of growth takes root. Chapter 9. Respond to challenges with calm and strong actions. When life presses you with difficulty, the first and most powerful choice you can make is how you respond. The mind instinctively wants to react, to defend, to escape, to fight, to resist. But strength is never found in panic. Strength is not noise. Strength is presence. It's rooted in your ability to stay grounded when everything around you feels uncertain. When you decide not to let chaos shape your decisions, you reclaim your personal power. You take authority over your behavior, even if you can't control the situation itself. That's where resilience is built, not in the absence of stress, but in the ability to act deliberately through it. There's an instinct in all of us to want immediate solutions when things go wrong. The brain searches for exits, for answers, for blame. But calm is a skill, and it's one you practice by not rushing. You don't let emotion dictate your next move. You pause, you breathe, you observe, you listen, not just to others but to your own thoughts, without judgment, without suppression. You sit in the discomfort long enough to see it clearly, and then you move forward with action that is firm, not frantic. That difference changes the outcome. It also changes how you feel about yourself. When you meet challenges with calm, you aren't denying the difficulty. You're simply refusing to let it own your energy. You are telling yourself, I can feel pressure without being pushed. I can feel disappointment without being destroyed. I can move slowly, if that's what it takes to move wisely. Calmness is not passivity. It is strategic composure. It's the refusal to make decisions you'll regret, just to feel a moment of relief. It's the willingness to hold steady in a storm, because your values are stronger than your fear. This mindset doesn't mean you'll never feel overwhelmed. It doesn't make you immune to frustration or anger. But it teaches you to become aware of what's happening inside you before it spills outside you. It teaches you to separate your initial reaction from your final decision. And the more you practice that pause, the more it becomes part of how you live. Over time, your nervous system adapts. Your mind begins to trust you. You stop escalating situations unnecessarily. You start responding with clarity, even when nothing is clear. The foundation of this strength is built in daily moments. You don't wait for life to go sideways to practice calm. You build it in your conversations, in your setbacks, in traffic, in delay. You learn to carry stillness with you, not by avoiding challenge but by walking through it without letting it shake your character. Each time you choose to act instead of react, you train yourself to handle bigger obstacles. Calm responses are a muscle, not a personality trait. Anyone can develop them, but it takes commitment. And that commitment includes being honest about what tends to knock you off center. Is it criticism? Is it a delay in plans? Is it unexpected change? Once you identify your triggers, you can begin to prepare not by avoiding them, but by building tools to meet them. Visualization, breathing, boundaries, internal dialogue, these are all forms of inner preparation. They help you stay rooted when life tries to pull you out of alignment. Preparation doesn't mean pretending things won't be hard. It means knowing who you are before the challenge shows up, so you don't lose yourself when it does. Another critical part of responding calmly is recognizing what belongs to you and what doesn't. Often we carry emotional weight that's not ours. We absorb other people's energy. We take responsibility for things outside our control. That creates tension, anxiety, even resentment. Learning to set emotional boundaries is key. You can care without carrying. You can support without sacrificing your own center. The moment you start choosing what deserves your full attention, you become more intentional with your energy. You stop wasting your effort on things that don't lead anywhere. Strong actions come from a place of clarity, not confusion. You don't have to do everything to be effective. You just need to do what matters, consistently. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is say no, or step back, or wait. Action doesn't always mean movement. It means direction. It means intentional effort, guided by purpose. Even a quiet decision made from a calm mind has more impact than 10 frantic steps taken out of fear. Power is precision, and precision requires peace. People who react to everything lose their direction quickly, but those who respond with purpose are rarely shaken for long. They may feel the same fear or stress, but they don't let it dictate their values. They make space between the event and their action. That space is what protects their integrity. It's what keeps their vision clear. They don't get lost in urgency. They don't surrender to emotion. They move when it's time to move, and they move with intention. To be this kind of person, you have to trust yourself, even when the world doesn't make sense. You have to believe that staying centered doesn't mean being inactive. It means choosing not to act out of alignment. The world will always pull for your attention. Emergencies, demands, noise, it's constant. But you decide what gets your energy. You decide what shapes your path. And that decision is most powerful when it's made from a calm mind, not a restless one. It's important to remember that you are not your worst moments. You're not defined by a single response, a single failure, or a temporary loss of composure. What defines you is your return, how you come back to yourself, how you grow from the experience, how you refine your approach. Progress is not perfection. It's awareness followed by adjustment. The goal is not to never feel shaken, but to shake less often and to recover more quickly. Responding with calm and strong actions will not always be the easiest path, but it will always be the path of lasting growth. It builds confidence from the inside out. It creates stability in your mind that no external event can take away. And the more you live this way, the more you inspire others to do the same, not by preaching, but by example. Your calm presence becomes a lighthouse for others who are still caught in storms. That's the quiet influence of a grounded life. Each challenge is an opportunity to reaffirm your values. Every hard moment is a mirror that shows you how far you've come and where you still need to grow. You're not here to avoid difficulty. You're here to become someone who meets it with wisdom and courage. That's how you build a life of strength, not through noise, but through the steady conviction that no matter what happens, you will respond with clarity, with courage, and with the calm that keeps you in control of what matters most. Chapter 10. Lead each day with purpose and quiet discipline. Each new day is an opportunity, a blank page waiting for the steady hand of purpose and discipline to write a meaningful story. Life does not reward chaos or haste. It honors those who move with intention, those who quietly command their own rhythm. Leading your day is not about grand gestures or loud declarations. It is about consistent choices, made calmly and deliberately, that build a life of significance and peace. Purpose is the compass that directs your actions. Without it, your efforts scatter like leaves in the wind. It anchors you in moments when distractions scream for attention and when energy wanes. Purpose means understanding why you rise each morning, knowing the values and goals that shape your direction. It's a quiet but powerful force that fuels motivation from within, rather than relying on fleeting excitement or external approval. Discipline is the engine that drives purpose forward. It's the daily practice of aligning small actions with your bigger vision. Discipline is not about punishment or rigidity, it's about respect for your own commitments. It's the ability to say no to what doesn't serve you, even when it's tempting. It's choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, not because someone is watching, but because you are committed to your own growth. Starting each day with this mindset means greeting the morning with intention. The way you begin sets the tone for what follows. A simple routine, whether it's meditation, planning, or movement, creates a foundation. This foundation becomes a shield against the unpredictable demands of the day. When you know what you intend to accomplish and why it matters, you are less likely to be derailed by distractions or doubt. Leading your day means being the author of your time. Time is your most valuable resource, yet it slips through fingers too easily when left unguarded. Purposeful leadership means managing your schedule to reflect what you value most, not what others demand of you. It requires boundaries, clear lines that protect your energy and focus. Boundaries are not selfish, they are acts of self-respect. They allow you to show up fully for what truly matters. Quiet discipline often looks unremarkable from the outside, but its impact is profound. It is waking up early, when the world is still dark, not for show, but because your dreams require effort. It is resisting the urge to give in to distractions, to scroll endlessly, to postpone. It is turning away from short-term pleasure in favor of long-term gain. Discipline is the daily choice to move forward even when motivation falters. This way of leading demands patience. Progress built on steady, small actions may not be dramatic, but it is lasting. It grows roots deep enough to withstand storms. Every day you commit to your purpose and practice discipline, you reinforce your identity as someone who controls their destiny. Over time, this identity shapes your habits, your mindset, and ultimately your reality. Challenges will arise, and some days will test your resolve. Purpose and discipline do not eliminate difficulty, but they prepare you to face it without losing your way. When setbacks occur, leading your day means returning to your why, recalibrating your actions, and continuing with quiet determination. It means recognizing that leadership begins within your attitude, your choices, your resilience. Embracing this path cultivates inner peace. When your days are guided by purpose, there is less room for regret or frustration. Decisions feel aligned, and progress, though sometimes slow, is steady. This peace is not a result of circumstances, but of character. It emerges from living in harmony with your values, holding yourself accountable, and honoring the process. True leadership in daily life is humble. It requires letting go of the need for external validation. The satisfaction comes from knowing you are living intentionally, not from applause. It's about showing up for yourself consistently, even when no one else notices. This silent commitment builds strength and confidence that radiates quietly but powerfully. Purpose and discipline work together like breath and heartbeat. One without the other leaves you unbalanced. Purpose without discipline can lead to frustration, as dreams remain distant. Discipline without purpose becomes mechanical, losing meaning and passion. When combined, they create momentum that propels you forward with clarity and resolve. To embody this leadership is to honor the small, everyday decisions. It's choosing to focus on what you can control, managing your thoughts and actions with care. It's understanding that greatness is built one disciplined moment at a time. Every choice to rise, to focus, to act is a brick in the foundation of your future. The power of leading your day quietly and purposefully extends beyond personal success. It influences those around you. People notice consistency. They respect integrity. They feel inspired by calm confidence. You become a steady presence in a world full of noise, a beacon of what is possible when intention meets action. Each morning offers a fresh start. Each evening, a chance to reflect on what was achieved and what can improve. This cycle is your opportunity to grow, not just in accomplishments, but in character. The discipline to lead each day with purpose is a lifelong practice, but its rewards are immediate and profound. It creates a life where your actions and values align, where your energy is protected, and where your path becomes clear. Ultimately, the quiet discipline of daily leadership shapes more than your days. It shapes who you become. It teaches resilience, fosters wisdom, and cultivates a deep satisfaction that comes from living a life designed by your own choices. This is the foundation of true fulfillment and lasting success.